The spaceship had 20 crew members, all of whom had been on board for months. They were all tired, but they were on a mission, and they knew it was important. Their mission was to explore the outer reaches of space, searching for new planets and new life. Little did they know, they were about to find something much more sinister than they had ever imagined. It all started when they found a strange meteor floating in the void of space. The meteor was odd, because it was glowing a strange green color. The crew was immediately intrigued, and decided to investigate. When they opened the meteor, they were shocked by what they found. Inside was a strange creature, a zombie-like being. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before. They quickly realized that this creature was not from Earth, and must have come from another planet. They took the creature back to their ship, where they could study it further. After a few days, they noticed that the creature had been acting strangely. It was as if it was trying to take over the minds of the crew members. At first, they thought it was just a coincidence, but soon they realized that this creature was actually a parasite. It had been inside the meteor, and had taken over the minds of the crew members. The crew quickly realized that the parasite was trying to use them to spread itself to other planets. It wanted to infect other beings, and turn them into zombies like itself. The crew was horrified, and knew that they had to act fast. They immediately put the creature in quarantine, and began searching for a way to destroy it. After days of research, they finally found a way. They created a device that would generate a powerful magnetic field, which would be strong enough to contain the parasite and prevent it from spreading. They put the device on board the ship, and activated it. The device worked, and the parasite was contained. The crew was relieved, but they knew that they still had to get rid of the creature. They decided to send it back to the meteor, and let it drift in space for eternity. The crew was exhausted, but they had saved the day. They had stopped the parasite from taking over the minds of other beings, and from spreading any further. They had done their job, and they were proud of themselves. The crew returned to Earth, and told their story. They warned other ships and space stations about the dangers of the parasite, and advised them to take precautions. The crew was celebrated as heroes, and their story was told around the world. The crew had stopped a great evil from spreading, and they had saved countless lives. They had done their job, and they had done it well. They would never forget the horror of the zombie on the spaceship, and the parasite that had taken over the minds of their crew. The year was 2132. Humanity had finally achieved its dream of creating a space station that orbited Earth, and all the nations of the world celebrated the momentous occasion. It was a symbol of the progress of human civilization, and the possibilities of further exploration seemed limitless. However, all of the hopes and dreams for the station were quickly dashed when an experiment gone wrong caused a zombie outbreak within its walls. It had been a simple experiment to test the effects of a new type of virus, and the scientists had no idea that it could have such an extreme consequence. The zombies quickly spread throughout the station, leaving a trail of destruction and chaos in their wake. Everyone who had been stationed there was now in danger, and the situation seemed hopeless. The station's security forces were quickly overwhelmed by the sheer numbers of the undead, and soon the station was in total chaos. It seemed that the only way to stop the zombie onslaught was to shut down the station and completely evacuate it. And so, a team of brave astronauts was sent to the station to try and save the remaining survivors. Armed with the latest in space-age technology, they had to fight their way through hordes of zombies in order to reach the core of the station and shut it down. It was a long and arduous battle, but eventually, the team was able to succeed in their mission. The station was shut down, and all the remaining survivors were evacuated safely. It had been a close call, but all of the people who were stationed at the space station had managed to survive the zombie outbreak. Unfortunately, the zombie virus had spread to other parts of the universe, and no one knew what kind of havoc it might wreak elsewhere. But for now, the survivors of the station were thankful for their good fortune. They had narrowly avoided a disaster of epic proportions, and they were determined to make sure that nothing like it ever happened again. The world celebrated the success of the mission, and the space station remained unoccupied for the foreseeable future. It was a stark reminder to all of the potential dangers of space exploration, and a reminder of the importance of safety protocols and caution. The zombie outbreak on the space station was a dark chapter in human history, but it was also a reminder of the bravery and courage of the people who risked their lives to save the lives of others. It was a reminder of the power of human ingenuity and the importance of looking out for one another. The planet was in chaos. Everywhere, the dead were rising from their graves, their eyes glowing with an eerie light, their moans echoing through the air. There was no escape from the zombie virus that had spread to every corner of the universe. The virus had first been discovered on a small, distant planet, where its inhabitants had been working on a cure. But the virus had spread faster than the scientists had anticipated. Before they could contain it, it had spread to dozens of other planets, infecting millions of innocent lives. Now, scientists from multiple planets had been working together to find a cure. They had made some progress, but it wasn't enough. The virus was still spreading. It was clear that something had to be done. Then, one day, a brilliant scientist from a distant planet had an idea. He proposed that they find a way to travel to the planet where the virus had originated, so they could study it and find a way to stop it. The scientists were hesitant at first. It seemed like an impossible task. But after much discussion, they agreed. They set out on a mission to find the planet and discover the origin of the virus. After months of searching, they finally found it. It was a small, isolated world, yet somehow the virus had spread from it to so many other places. The scientists studied the planet, hoping to find a way to stop the virus. And then, miraculously, they did. It turned out that the virus was actually created by a scientist who had been experimenting with a new form of bioweaponry. When the virus was released, it spread quickly and was nearly impossible to contain. But the scientists were able to find a way to neutralize the virus. They created a vaccine that would prevent the spread of the virus, and soon the universe was safe again. The scientists had saved the day. But in doing so, they had also learned a valuable lesson, that great power comes with great responsibility. They vowed to never create something so devastating ever again. With the virus contained, the universe began to heal. Life slowly returned to normal, and soon the planets were safe again. The scientists' work had paid off, and everyone was grateful. But it was a hard-won victory. The zombie virus had been a powerful reminder of the dangers of unchecked scientific progress. The universe had been lucky this time, but who knew when something like this might happen again? The scientists had learned their lesson, and they vowed to never take their success for granted. From then on, they worked together to ensure that their research would never be used for evil, and that the universe would be safe from any new threats. The Texas wasteland was a sight to behold. It was a barren land, filled with nothing but dust, sand and the remnants of civilization from before the Great War. The people of Texas were a tough lot. They had to be, just to survive in the harsh environment. The land was unforgiving, and the people had to be just as tough to make it through each day. The Texas wasteland was a dangerous place. It was filled with mutated creatures, raiders, and other threats. The people of Texas had to be prepared to face any danger that came their way. But they also had a secret. They had a weapon that could turn the tide of any battle. It was known as the Texas Ranger. The Texas Ranger was an advanced prototype energy weapon. It had the ability to fire a concentrated beam of energy that was capable of melting through armored targets. The weapon was developed by the Texas Military Research Group, and it was the pride and joy of the people of Texas. The Texas Ranger was a symbol of hope in the wasteland. It was a symbol of strength, and of the will to fight on in the face of adversity. It was a symbol of the courage of the people of Texas, and it was a reminder that no matter how dark the times were, there was always a chance of victory. However, not all was well in the Texas wasteland. Raiders had begun to attack settlements, and the Texas Military Research Group was being stretched to its limits. The people of Texas needed help, and they needed it now. That's when the Lone Star came in. The Lone Star was a group of mercenaries hired by the Texas Military Research Group to help protect settlements from raiders. The Lone Star was made up of some of the toughest warriors in the wasteland, and they were a force to be reckoned with. The Lone Star was led by a man named Tex. Tex was a former soldier, and he was an expert at combat. He was a leader that the people of Texas could trust, and he was a symbol of hope. Together, the Lone Star and the Texas Military Research Group fought against the raiders, and slowly but surely they were able to push them back. It was a long and hard-fought battle, but eventually the raiders were defeated. The Texas wasteland was a harsh place, but the people of Texas were determined to make it a better place. They used the Texas Ranger to help them build a better future. They used it to protect their settlements, and to fight against anyone that threatened them. The people of Texas had faced many challenges, but they had persevered. They had fought against the odds, and they had won. The Texas Ranger was a symbol of their strength and courage, and it was a reminder that no matter how dark the times were, there was always a chance of victory.